Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for Tuesday, April 10th, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Already, we're seeing a big day up after hours. Last evening, price jumped pretty significantly. We've held those gains all pre-market, and right now, it's holding right back at the area where we sold off yesterday, which is pretty significant. This is the area we mentioned before. I mentioned that if price comes up into the previous month's close and beyond it, right, it could be a selling opportunity back down. And price pushed above the close, actually pushed nicely beyond it into 2660, eventually failed to hold it by the end of the day, and we were dropping significantly. It appeared we were ready to perhaps reach the lower edge of that range, but instead, trade war still on the forefront here, and positive news coming out from China last evening that led to a nice little surge here. But we're really not out of the weeds. Again, 2669 is the major upside level. We're kind of compressing right now, and surely above 2669 we could see a major stop run back toward 2731. That's what we've been talking about for a while, if we can get above that level. But as long as we remain below this level, we still have a slight downward bias, and we continue to remain in this narrow range. So again, not the best trade location in this zone. It continues to appear that we are headed lower for at least a retest of lows down the road again, until we can really reclaim some of these upside levels. And again, today starting strong. We'll see if price can probe through 69.70. If not, we could be looking at another potential drop, which could again extend into that lower edge of the range. If we take a look at the NQ, very similar behavior. We had a great move into the previous month's close yesterday. Again, that's what we looked for. We were looking for a push into that level, so it was a day trade up, and then we were looking for signs of rejection that would lead to perhaps a swing trade down. And we definitely saw a great sell-off here yesterday off of those highs and closed near the lows. But again, positive trade news coming out, and you can see price pushing through the midpoint of yesterday's range. So again, this isn't ideal in terms of where we are in the range, but we are clearly coiling up and getting ready for a move away from the zone. Do we go above 66.53 and start to work back toward the FOMC key level at 69.17, or do we reject 66.53 and start to work down towards 6200? That's the question right there. And again, we've had a downward bias, so I'd be watching very closely to see if there's any signs of rejection at 6650 to 6700. If so, that could be a ticket downward. So again, that's the main pivot to watch here as we continue to progress throughout the week. If we take a look at crude oil, you can see crude oil here had a major turnaround. The previous session here, you can see price pushed barely below that low, closing below it the next day, jumping back up, and then here in overnight trading, pre-market really, already rallying pretty significantly and back towards 65.07, which is the FOMC key level from March 21st. So it was a little chop around it, eventually took it offered. Here is the rejection, and then price coming back up. I thought we would have an earlier move. Remember, we were talking that this could be ahead earlier last week, and instead stops came out at 62.80, and this is what happened, but eventually coming back anyway. So again, crude oil is in a zone of the chart that isn't the most favorable still. It's coiling up. It has this larger range right here that's been developing, and we continue to chop in that zone, and eventually here very soon we could be looking at some nice movement out of this range. So again, right now, slight upward bias with a shot to reach perhaps a little higher, but not the best in terms of swing direction right now. Still coiling up. So right now, short term up. Here's the previous month's close, which was offered to begin the month. If it's offered to begin the month, typically speaking, it's offered on the second retest. So keep an eye on that level. Same thing with the 65.07. If the FOMC key level is offered, the retest is usually offered. So right now, slight bias to the downside once we reach 65 and above. All right, let's take a look lastly. Well, let's take a look at gold. Not really much to say in gold here. Again, I'm just going to echo the sentiments I mentioned yesterday morning, which is basically we're stuck in the middle of this range. There's no real edge when you're sitting here at the middle of the range, and instead we got to come out here to the edge before we can find something tradable. And right now you just got to be patient. At the moment we are coiling up. You can see on a 5-day basis down here, this is a 5-day range. It's a developing situation. Today's range not done, but over the last 5 sessions here, very, very tightly compressed action, basically 61% of average. It's been averaging 32 points on a 5-day range basis. Right now 19.8. So again, that can suggest that we may be due for some short-term expansion, which again can take us to an edge. That means we could be going back up, or perhaps if we break to the downside, we'll come to this edge. So right now, again, got to be patient with gold. Not really doing a whole lot. With Bitcoin, Bitcoin's having trouble here finding any strength. Again, the previous session was failed new highs. Here's 2-day highs. Price pushed above it, failed by the end of the day, was lower. Getting closer and closer to that 58.80 low, but not really quite getting there just yet. So again, this is incredible how quiet this has gotten. Very bearish downtrending behavior. We still got to take this low out before something significant might happen. So again, got to be patient with Bitcoin. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you soon.